Well, look what we got here. You might have noticed if you were paying attention, which you probably weren't, that they put up two clips from their last meeting, and both clips had nothing on them. But here they've posted something here. Now, these board of puppets have not met 2 out of the last 3 months. Now, let me point out that they're doing this from their home. I mean, there's no excuse to not have your meeting. They're in the comfort of their own homes. So why did they decide they didn't want to have two meetings at all? They just canceled 2 out of the last three when they're doing this from home. Who knows? We'll never know because they're never going to tell us. But all the other East Coast agencies are meeting in person. I mean, I just got through listening to that ridiculous town hall, and Tom Mills made this statement. You can look it up yourself. It's on my blog or on my YouTube channel. I know it's somewhere in there. If you can stand watching this stuff, I'm one of the few people that can actually take it, and it causes me a lot of anguish to watch it. But I usually get through them. It's not easy. He made the statement that it's okay to be on the bus because of the high vaccination rates. Well, obviously, he lied through his teeth because if him and the rest of these executive leadership, quotes around leadership, team actually believed that, they'd all be back to work. And none of them are back to work. But it's okay for you to be crowded in a bus, but it's not okay for them to be in an office, you see? The rules for thee, but not for me. This whole agenda, this COVID world order is all about keeping the serfs in control while the elites live it up. And I don't know why they're getting away with this. I have no idea why the totalitarianism is being accepted as if it's something that's good for us. I don't know why people have turned into a mass psychosis. We have an actual mass psychosis going on here, where you have in front of your face evidence that proves that none of this shit actually works. Okay, let me show you a tweet I just did here. Look at this. 44 people aboard Royal Caribbean cruise ship tested positive for COVID-19. Passengers aged 12 and older were required to be fully vaxxed against the virus and test negative to board. So they were all vaxxed and they all had no COVID when they got on the ship, and now 44 of them have COVID. That's positive proof that the vaccines don't work, and it's not a pandemic of the unvaxxed. It's right in front of you here. All of that has been a lie. It's all been a lie, folks. You're living a lie. If you agree with all of this, you're a fool. But somehow they've been able to put into the brains of the population, or at least the majority of the population, that everybody that's against this agenda is somehow a Trumper. Well, I guarantee you, I'm not a Trumper. Okay, I never liked the guy. I thought he was humorous when he was running against Hillary. I kind of was hoping he was going to win because if you think back to 2016, I remember these things. Okay, most people, they have no memory. They can't even remember what happened last week. Hillary Clinton fixed the primary against Bernie Sanders, and then thought she was going to beat Trump. That she actually played a role in making sure Trump was a candidate, expecting nobody will vote for him. So Trump turned out to be the biggest phony in my life. I mean, he's probably the worst president we've had overall. But he did try to do a few good things. I remember when Trump was he was doing the primaries, and he actually said out loud, and I'll never forget this. He actually said that George Bush lied about Iraq, and I was very impressed. So a few good things did come out of Trump's mouth. It was all, the fact that he pandered to the racist elements of our society is where he lost me. If he could have got above that, he might have been able to draw a little more support. But his main constituency was these well, I don't want to get into this because this is TRIMET. Anyway, let's forget about that. All right, so I don't know what's going on here. Now, I just started this. It's only an hour long, so and you can see here.
Those are the months of July, August, and September of this year.
So I see. So they didn't start this meeting at the beginning of the meeting because there's no public testimony. There's no officer reports. They're all on the various committees. So they lopped off a ton of the meeting. So I mean, they're doing corruption here, as far as I'm concerned. This is a corrupt agency. I'm sorry I have to say that, but it's been that way for many years. They operate in darkness. They don't even have board meetings. And when they do have a board meeting, they don't even put it up for you to see. And they tweet it to their public on an account that has 200 followers instead of their account that has 60,000 followers. And they don't put it on their Facebook either. So, I mean, they're operating in the dark. And we know that, and people that pay attention know that. So I'm observing how corrupt it really is here. So they've skipped over the whole beginning of the board meeting here. It's gone, not here. So I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it's coming up or something, but see, there's supposed to be board reports. And there was supposed to be a public hearing, but listen.
We will talk about the temporary service reduction coming to help address our staffing shortage. I will touch on hiring initiatives, and then we will recognize one of our exemplary employees. So let me start with the COVID update.
See, so they've skipped the whole beginning of the meeting is missing. The whole beginning of the meeting is missing. Okay, so what's your excuse, TRIMET? I mean, am I going to have to do public records requests again to get you to do... I mean, I hate to be the one that bugs you about this stuff, but I seem to be the only one that's actually paying attention to what you're doing. I mean, why are you so sloppy about this stuff? I know you're not incompetent fools. You're corrupt fools. Okay, you have no sympathy for your riders or your drivers. But why is all this shit always fucked up? Why do I have such a hard? Why do we, the public, have such a hard time getting even the meetings done correctly? You cut off the whole beginning of the meeting. So why is that? Why are you so incompetent, or why are you so ruthlessly corrupt that you would? I can't imagine that they don't know that this isn't here. I mean, are they that stupid or what? I mean, where's the board reports? Where's the public forum? It's not here. Where is it? Now, I will do a public records request because I don't know what the fuck you're doing, man. Why do you have to fuck this shit up every fucking time?
We continue to await directions from Oregon OSHA as how we will apply the federal vaccine mandate.
Yeah, sir. You're going to force this down your throat, and because this is a totalitarian country now. It's been proven that it doesn't work. We're all back to ground zero here. There's more cases in Massachusetts now than ever. We're like 85% vaccinated here. It doesn't work. Oh, I get myself worked up already, eh? I haven't even started. Imagine the absolute nerve of these fucking technocrats who work at home, overly paid, overly egotistical, to tell you, the operator who's been through this whole goddamn pandemic from the very beginning, through the fires, through the pandemic, through all the shit that you put up with, now they're going to demand that you get this shot, even if you don't want it. I mean, what fucking nerve. What unbelievable nerve. So, hero, yesterday, and you're going to do what you're told, you're out today. So you're living in this unbelievably corrupted society here. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, people are dying in the streets. The Fed is created trillionaires. I mean, all this shit's going on around us, and they keep us focused on this other. They're fucking, I'm telling you, man, I hope you realize you're living in unbelievable time. You're in it's called the fourth turning. And this is an epoch of mankind where everything shifts. Now, there's a lot of protests in Europe, but there's nothing going on here, man. And I imagine that what's going to end up happening is the Republicans will take over the government. And unfortunately, and the Democrats are just shit. I mean, I hope the Democrats lose every race known to man. I hope they lose everything, all the local races, all the state races, all the federal races. I hope they lose. I hope the Democrats are put in the position of the Whig Party. In other words, extinct, because that party does deserve to go under. Now, it's going to be bad for us because we're going to have a Christian fascist state for a while. But the end result of that may be a better country once we see. I mean, imagine if Trump was president now. Nobody would be going along with these men. Nobody would be doing it. All the Democrats wouldn't do anything that Trump said, but as soon as Trump is gone, now they're all for it. So, I mean, they're lying. They're just bald-faced liars, man. Okay, let's try to get off of that. Let's see what
large employers with 100 or more employees. The release of that information is pending the outcome of legal challenges. And in the meantime, the government has extended its mask requirements while to our riding transit riders to March 18th, 2022.
Yeah, this is all totalitarianism, by the way. All of it. None of it has worked. We're 2 years into this, and we're still here. Wake up. Please wake up. Can anybody wake up? We've been 2 years into this, and we're still where we started. Wake up, please. Oh my God, I can't believe that Americans are going along with this, man. What a ignorant society.
Really want to just pause for a moment and just thank our riders for their continued.
He wants to thank her. Shut up, Sam. You're so full of shit. I can't believe it. You want to thank your God, Jesus. I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take very much of this. It's not going well.
Compliance and our employees as we get through.
Yeah, you want to thank your employees so much. You're going to ram this thing down their throats. They've worked all through this pandemic, and somehow they've survived. It's unbelievable. All the unvaccinated have survived this long, but we got to force this down your throat now. After we have proof that it doesn't even work, we're still going to force it down your throat.
This pandemic. We're also continuing to encourage.
It's a scam-demic.
Our employees to get vaccinated.
Fuck you.
If they haven't already.
No.
And to really consider a booster shot.
Fuck you.
TRIMET is closely monitoring developments.
Yeah.
At the local, state, and federal levels. And we will respond accordingly.
Yeah, and of course they're going to shove it down your throat. There's no doubt about it. But they know they're going to lose operators. People will take the opportunity to leave, as they should. I mean, I know some people they can't leave because they have families to support. They have to comply. But don't think you're living in a free country anymore, because you're not. You're living in a totalitarian society. Just get that through your head. This is not a free country anymore. It's over. All of that's over.
Kind of move into ridership for November 2021. We've provided nearly 4 million trips in November. Ridership is down about 50% from where we were in November of 2019. Prior to the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Scamdemic.
It was nearly 27%.
It's a scamdemic for one reason only, because all those lockdowns that they did back then did nothing. Okay, we're back where we started. Okay, wake up. I'm going to keep pounding this. Wake up. Please wake up.
Higher than it was at this time last year. So that's welcome news as we continue to rebuild and recover our ridership. I would like to transition now to how our vehicles and equipment have been performing. I'd like to invite Miles Crumley, he's our Manager of Service Performance and Analysis, to present our third quarter performance report. Miles, are you available?
Oh, you got Wes behind him.
Morning.
That's like 5 riders a day on Wes now, but there's a picture of it right there.
Morning, Sam. Good morning, TRIMET board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, there's Ozzy. Go ahead, Miles. Move it.
Am I bringing it up, or is somebody else bringing the presentation?
You think by now they would have this ironed out, but they don't.
let's see here. I know Kim was having some technical difficulties. Let's just see if she could bring it up here.
If not, I have it.
See if you can share it, Miles.
Okay. Great. So good morning, TRIMET Board. My name is Miles Crumley. I'm the Manager of Service Performance and Analysis. I'll be presenting to you the Q3 TRIMET Quarterly Report. This covers the months of July, August, and September. We continue to maintain safe operating environment for customers and staff in the face of an ongoing pandemic, civil unrest, wildfires, extreme weather, and a sustained 50% decline in ridership. First off, to talk about on-time performance for bus, Max, and West. Between the last quarter and this quarter, we have seen an increase in on-time performance for West. West had some wayside construction that was going on previously. That work is now completed. And so their on-time performance has returned to typically where they normally operate. For bus, we're starting to see a decline in on-time performance. This we're attributing to increased traffic on the roadways as the people begin to adjust to the pandemic. We also did see a slight decline in our Max on-time performance, and this was due to heat and weather during August.
And of course, we disagree with all of these figures. I don't know where they're coming up. Just they don't count any run that was canceled is not counted here. So this is all garbage. All of these have always been garbage statistics anyway, but now they're especially garbage because it doesn't take into consideration canceled runs.
Next are up fixed route bus operator complaints. Between this period last year and current period, we're down about 4.7 per 100,000 boardings. We continue to see the complaints come into these three categories, mainly of public relations, service delivery, and safety related. However, between this quarter and last quarter, we're actually seeing that the total number of complaints is actually decreasing.
Yeah, so what? So?
Next up are Max operator complaints. Between this period last year and the previous report of Q2, the number, I would say, is flat as a data person. And so we're still seeing about 2.1 complaints per 100,000 boardings on Max. Next are rail rule violations.
This became a thing when Kelsey came in here, this whole rail rule. And I'll say again that the TriMet light rail, and I've actually read reports of the light rails all across the country. The TriMet light rail safety record was right in the middle. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, but it was right in the middle with most of them were. So this is something that Kelsey got all obsessed with. This is, rail rule violations. How do we demote our rail operators? You fucking surf operators. You violate our rule, we send you back to bus.
In this period last year in 2020 and 2021, we've seen an increase by about 10.2 rail rule violations per million miles operated. This is a much, even though this is an increase over where we were last year, it is an improvement of where we were during Q2, where we saw this spike for the April, May, and June quarterly performance report. Training does continue to work with probationary operators, and there are a couple of other rail initiatives to bring this number down. Lift miles between road calls. We did see a decline in miles between road calls. This chart, when you read it, you have to read it the inverse. Lower number typically means worse. Higher number means better. However, Lyft continues to rely on the oldest vehicles due to COVID-19 capacity restrictions. However, these vehicles are scheduled to be retired at the end of FY23, and so we would expect to see an improvement after these vehicles are removed from service. Next is fixed route mean distance between failure. We did see a slight improvement of about 691 miles between this time last year. Again, the industry standard for a mean distance between failures is somewhere between 10 and 11,000 miles. And so we're dealt well within what the industry would expect for our fleet of vehicles.
If we can trust your statistics, you mean?
Light rail mean distance between failure, we did see a decrease, and so an increase in number of incidents related to mean distance between failures for the light rail vehicles. This is related to auxiliary inverters on our oldest vehicles, our Type 1 and Type 2 vehicles. We are seeing some electrical control issues on the Type 2s and 3s and ongoing propulsion issues with the 1s and 2s. The Type 1 vehicles are also scheduled to be removed from service sometime in FY23. So again, we would expect to see an improvement after those vehicles are removed from service. Fixed route bus collisions, we did see an increase in collisions between this period last year, but it is a decrease from Q2 of 2021. Again, because of the increased traffic on the roadways, we are seeing an increase in mirror strikes, or not necessarily an increase in mirror strikes, but the total volume of collisions.
Speaking of mirror strikes, why don't you fix those mirrors so they're not constant? It's like 30 a day of that, I've heard. 30 mirror strikes a day. I mean, we don't hear that many, but I mean, we don't get all the calls. It's not possible to record everything. We're not getting a couple of the repeater stations either.
It's made up primarily of mirror strikes, and so as traffic increases, it's something that we would just expect to see. And max collisions per 100,000 miles are very low at this point. We're seeing about 1.02 per 100,000 miles operated. So this doesn't necessarily have that big of a bearing based on traffic, but this we can attribute to just how we operate our vehicles. That's that. Are there any questions?
I do have a question. It's Lori Bauman. I think it was slide number 2 on the on-time performance, that it's been a decrease in on-time performance for bus. And you mentioned that the increase in traffic has an impact on that. Does our staffing issues have an effect on on-time performance? Does that come into that measurement? The shortage of bus drivers?
Yeah, why don't you? Good question, because the truth of it is they don't tell you how that's impacting the system here. Let's listen to the answer.
Yes, and that also appears in the operator complaints as well for fixed route bus. And so my understanding is that even though there's an operator shortage, we're covering well over 95 to 97% of our scheduled service on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, sure. 97%. I don't believe you. Sorry. I would believe 90%, maybe. No, not 97. Lie.
However, in order to do that, we have to make decisions as to when we actually put buses into service based on staffing. And so at some times during the day, you will see buses going by as we're trying to get the buses back on schedule. And in that process, that also has an impact on our on-time performance because those routes might not actually be starting on time. And so as we get staff available, we will deploy those resources so that we can keep the region.
Of course, keep the region. Of course, I'm going to say it again. They leave out completely how the canceled runs affects that. They just pretend it doesn't exist. Okay. The board's a bunch of suck.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Of course not. Wait, his eyes, he just poked.
I don't see any. So, General Manager Dessou.
Thanks, President Simmons. So, Miles, thank you. We appreciate the report.
All these black faces over there.
And just a couple of weeks, on January 9th, TRIMET will begin a temporary service reduction. So kind of going on the trail of what Miles just stated here. We made that difficult decision to cut back service in response to the most critical staffing shortage.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this again. These hacks working from home, getting ridiculous salaries, have done nothing to change that. They didn't increase the salaries. Yeah, they give you a $500 hiring bonus and a $2,000 retention bonus if you stay 6 months in 1 year. But they didn't change the salary structure. They didn't change the full-time to part-time. They didn't change any of that. These people have done nothing to actually address the shortage. This is the problem with our society. The people running the society won't do anything about the shortages. They just keep repeating the same line. Well, there's nobody available. There's nobody available. First of all, I don't believe them. I think they got plenty of applications. And second of all, the worker shortage is a salary shortage, and none of these elites are willing to do anything about it because they don't suffer any consequences from the failures. There's no consequences for Dessous and any of these cronies here for the failure of your transit system. Meanwhile, the operators are under extreme stress, and the riders are being left in the ditch, and you're making excuses. You're a failure. This is a failed transit system. Get it through your head.
In TRIMET history. And we are not alone throughout this
Yeah,
country.
you all saying the same bullshit. I know you coordinated this. We're not alone, yeah. Fuck you.
I would say more than 75% of the transit agencies across the United States is going through this difficult decision to cut service back due to recruitment and retention.
What do you mean? So what's it? Okay, you just admitted right there that 25% of the transit agencies aren't having this problem. So why aren't you doing what they're doing? How come 25% don't have this problem? What's up with that, Sam? Dessous, general manager, leadership team.
We looked at two options. Continue to have riders wait for buses that will never arrive due to the lack of staff, or adjust the service so that our riders could plan for reduced frequency, but have their bus show up when they
Yeah, and they didn't have no public input on this. They made their own decisions. No public input, no equity analysis. They keep rolling out, well, we got to do an equity analysis before we do anything. But not now. Now they just did it. Just like when they cut them originally. We just did it. We're just cutting this because we're the king of TRIMET and nobody else has a say.
Expect it to be there. Reliability. And I know we've had conversations about relevance and who we are. So we chose the latter.
Yeah, you chose. Why did you choose the? Well, who's we? We chose the latter. You kings of TRIMET made a decision for the public without any public input. Shame on you.
It reduces the strain on our operators right now with burnout and also with attrition. We've worked hard to cover the shortage day to day. We will be temporarily reduced.
You know, this is disgraceful, man. The executive staff is still fully paid. They're still hiring all the bureaucrats. They're still doing all of capital projects at 100%. It's only the lowest of the low that get hurt again, because that's how this country operates. It's always the lowest people in the society that end up paying for the criminals on top.
Reducing service on 20, and I repeat, 20 bus lines starting Sunday, January 9th, 2022. Most of those lines will see reductions in weekday service. We do apologize to our riders. And we know that
failure.
It's not ideal.
You're a failure, Sam.
And we would much rather be expanding service right now as we recover riders. But this is temporarily and necessary while we work to.
Yeah, why don't you have a 20% pay cut? How about that? How about since you're at home and all of you people are at home and the riders are stuck waiting for buses that don't show up? How about like $1? How about something for the riders who've been suffering at the hands of your incompetence? Why don't you reduce the fares to $1.50 or something? How about that? Why don't you do something that helps people instead of your goddamn bullshit that you keep doing?
Recruit, to hire, and to train bus operators. Speaking of hiring, those efforts have intensified in the recent weeks as new hiring initiatives and incentives taken effect. On November 29th, TRIMET announced a $2,500 bonus for all newly hired operators.
Not a bonus.
During the week following the announcement, TRIMET received 67 applications. That's 5 times the number of applications we received the previous week. We also
get on it
recently
then.
Increased the starting pay for bus operators.
But not the top pay. You know, and you went from 17 to 21, and then they're going to be stuck at 21 until they get to the point in the regular pay step that hits 21. And you didn't increase the top pay.
To $21.36.
Aren't you
per
generous,
hour.
Sam?
It's an improvement of more than $4 per hour.
Yeah.
And again, everyone in the country now is moving. I sent some of you an article in the New York Times showing what New York
Times, one of the most unreliable sources for news in the country, and the Washington Post. Actually, there's no mainstream news that's reliable. You might as well never look at that stuff. It's just lies.
Transit agency is doing in New York City. They're hiring back retirees now and paying them $35,000 for 3 months just to come back and work. How
come you're not doing that? Maybe I'll come there for $35,000. I'll bring my camera.
A positive response to our bonus announcement, and it's important to remember that the hiring process takes some time. Also, all TriMet bus operators must successfully complete our 7-week training program before they can go out on the road on their own. So this is a process, but we are making progress.
Yeah, sure.
We're really moving fast in this situation here. I'm very hopeful that the momentum will continue as we close out this year and really roll into 2022.
Yeah, yippee for you.
Now I'd like to take a moment to recognize one of our employees.
Who?
She's helped a person in need while in her role as the customer service field outreach and community relations representative.
Oh, Jesus.
And she likely saved his life. Her name is Colleen Hildebrand. And I'd like to invite her manager, Heather Rogers, to describe to you Colleen's experience.
Why is the manager describing it? Why don't you get Colleen up here, you fucking hack? We don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from the person. Fuck the managers.
Interactions. Heather?
Thank you, General Manager Sam DeSuda. I really appreciate your introduction. And good morning also to our TriMet Board of Directors. It's my honor to highlight Colleen Hildebrand, who's on our on-street field representative team. Let me take a drink really quick. I'm sorry.
Heather?
Hold on just a moment.
Poor Heather. Uh-oh. Trouble in
I'm
TriMet.
sorry. Recently, Colleen was working a shift at a PDX when she noticed someone who looked like he might need assistance. After engaging him in conversation, she learned that he had consumed 2 bottles of blood pressure medication in a suicide attempt. She persuaded him to sit with her while she called for medical assistance and talked to him about his life until paramedics arrived. And thanks to the information that she gathered from this conversation, she was able to answer some of the questions from EMTs and to the airport security chief. The man was later transported to the hospital for treatment. As her manager, I would like to thank Colleen again for her service to our community. And
Why are you talking? Where's Pauline? What kind of ridiculous shit is this?
for representing TriMet in the field, and to thank you for.
We don't even have a
continuing to
picture
do
of
this
her? I
important
mean,
work.
what the shit? Jesus.
Thank you for your time today.
What a bunch of baloney, man.
Colleen, did you have anything that you would like to say?
Oh,
at
is she
this
there?
time?
Where is she? Let's see her. Where is she?
Hi.
Where is she? Come on, let's see
I
her.
was just happy to help the individual that needed the assistance.
Is she here? Where?
So, thank you.
Yeah, she just did what any conscious human being would do. It's people that save them all, whether they're at work or not at work. Now, did they do the person any favors? I don't know. Maybe they wanted to get out of this life for a reason. Now they're stuck back here, so I don't know. I've always been like, people want to terminate their lives. They have a right to do that. Hey, look at this. PDX Buckeye has 11,000. Did you know?
Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen, as well, on behalf of the board.
So Colleen, as TriMet's general manager, I would like to personally thank you as well for showing kindness and compassion to a stranger in need. This is how TriMet employees make a difference in our community day in and day out. And I just want you to know that we appreciate your efforts as a representative of TriMet, but also as a person who embraces humanity. You make us feel very proud and very grateful. So thank you. President Simmons, would you or any of the board members like to make any comments here?
I'm sure they do.
Let me check and see if any board members would like to respond. Looking. Director Edwards.
Thank you. Colleen, I just
Here we go with the baloney.
applaud you for being aware and of what's going on around you, because it's important. A lot of times we're just kind of just doing our jobs and not paying attention to what's happening, just making sure that we're doing our jobs appropriately. But you were paying attention.
Wait a minute. I want to, I got to put this on my tape here because I got some good shit today on my TriMet, I surf the web for hours at a time. Here it is. Watch this.
It's too late now. It's too late.
This is an operator, a TriMet operator, who's freaking out. And I remember we heard this call. The call came in, and we couldn't put it together. We were like, "What bomb?" We didn't understand. And so here's the actual operator, and he's lost his mind. You can see that he's had a break, psychotic break.
It's too late now. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late for him. It's too late for you. You're fucked, Wendell. You didn't stop a bus that has a fucking bomb on it. You didn't stop a bus that has a fucking bomb on it. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. You have to believe me because I'm an operator for this company. You have to believe what I say. If I say there's a bomb on the bus and you don't stop it. 911 literally hung up the phone on me because they think I'm a ranting lunatic. 911 hung up the phone on me. 911 hung up the phone on me because they said they want me to wait for their supervisor. Come here, talk to me. 911 didn't believe a word I said when I told them that TRIMET's dispatch couldn't prove who the hell they are. Hey, there's a bomb.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why don't you tell the board about that, Mr. General Manager Dessous, leadership team? Let the board see this one, all right? How about that, General Manager Dessous? Over and out.